Hi guys! I've done this kind of setup before, but when it's just me and you talking, I thought the setup's a lot prettier than you seeing my background that sometimes is messy, my room that's messy. This is gonna be a chill sit down video, me and you chit chat and talking about how I make my travels possible, what I do, don't do, maybe side hustles, because I side hustle. So, from my main job, I usually can save about $100. I try and save that to my emergency fund and whatnot. So that doesn't leave a lot to saving for travel. So what I do is pick up kind of not odd jobs, but I crochet. And I've actually this year have gotten into a lot more markets. In the past, I would just do like rephrase. Last year, I did one market with my crochet, and I didn't even have enough to fill the whole table. This year, I bulked it up, actually bought something else, a little gumball machine to put my crochet items in to make it mystery crochet. And I have done, so far this year, two charity events where I up my stuff. I did a book event. So I've done three so far, and then I have two that I'm signed up for, one I am attempting to sign up for that I'll be signing up for this week. So I have three more. So far this year I've done six. I'm hoping to then ramp it up even more next year, but for what I've done so far pretty good. I usually average anywhere from $20 to about $100 at my events, which you're probably thinking that's not enough to go on those trips. I know. I do also save again throughout the year. I try and take one trip a year. For some reason, between 2023 and 2026, I've ramped that up to 3 trips. But I've also ramped up posting online and selling my crochet online. And so I don't make enough to do taxes on it. But I make enough to get what I want. Or sometimes like birthday money or what have you, I also save that back. So I do a lot of budgeting. And so what I will do with the budgeting is I give myself X amount of money, and then I actually make it a challenge, make it a fun game. Because if it's a game in my head, then it's fun. So recently I went to the store and I bought a bunch of those like ready to eat meals for my lunches. The other thing that I do is actually live at home with my parents and my family, so we are able to, I feel like it's becoming more common, but it's uncommon in America to see multi-generational families. My mom has said that she wants to keep her kids at home as long as she can, as long as we help. So we help. Economy's crap, so we live at home. And I am able to help out when my parents, get rough, and vice versa. When it's rough for me, like right now, my car is getting fixed, and I'm too young to get a rental car, so I'm using my parents' car, and they took the rental car. Or vice versa. There's been a time where my mom's car went down, and I literally was on vacation, so I threw her my keys and said, "Take my car." I had a week off. I don't remember why, but I had a whole week off, so I literally spent it at home, just rotting in bed. Could have used my time more wisely by creating content, but instead I just brought it in my bed. So I live at home. That means I just give them some money for my room and food, and I try and eat leftovers when we have leftovers, and then I buy the cheap ready to eat meals. I use restaurant points. I use whatever I can. There was a week recently, it was almost a whole month, where I just went to Kroger and bought me a loaf of bread, peanut butter and jelly, and some chips. And that's all I ate for lunch for a week, because I just hit my mic. I was trying to save money, and that was like a reset for my money. Such a nice reset. I'm tired of peanut butter and jelly now. I have to wait a while before I can do that again, but it's a really nice reset. So kind of making this list more concise, because I realize that I'm all over the place. I crochet and I sell that on the side. I do have a part-time job that I work almost full-time hours at, but it's part-time. I also have in the past done babysitting. I've also done house sitting, dog sitting. I haven't done too much of that this year, so it's mainly been budgeting, part-time job, crochet, and then whatever money, you can't see my fingers, whatever money people gift me. But the budgeting is the biggest aspect. If y'all want me to do how I budget, I will. But I want you to know that I live in the Midwest where I feel like it's definitely a lower cost of living. So I challenge myself to only use $10 a day for food for lunch or food, whatever have you, and that's all I eat on. And then at the end of the week, whatever I have, I will decide whether that goes into sinking fund, travel fund, or if I use that for fun money. I don't really say like I don't do much fun on the weekends unless it is something that is cheaper. So walking around somewhere, going somewhere. I do have a couple of videos traveling around a city for $30. I want to pick that back up, so that means I'm going to have to budget a little differently to have $30 in order to go do those things, as well as gas money. So I just wanted to kind of pop on here. It's a very short video, but things that you could do. Other things I know I've seen people do is like door dashing. In my little farm town area that I live in, there's a lot of dashers and not enough people ordering. And so I would have to go to other cities, and that's a lot. I'll stick with what I've been doing and continue to just try my best. That's why I also in past videos have said I ball on a budget. When I go, I do try and find the free and cheap things to do, but not view it as I don't want to say I'm not viewing it as like, oh, I'm only stuck to these things. It's like, ooh, I found new things that Google wasn't even like telling me I could do. Like when I was walking around in St. Louis, I was looking up the museums and I literally typed in free, cheap museums, and it wasn't bringing up anything. It brought up the city museum, which was like $30 a person. And I was like, that is not cheap. I don't know whose pocket that is cheap. So as I was walking towards the city museum, I found the Soldiers Museum, which was the Soldiers Memorial Museum, which was a donation. I found the old courthouse, which sadly was closed, but I'm pretty sure that was donation as well. The Arch Museum, which was donation. You know, there's so many things that was donation that it wasn't bringing up. So that's another thing is when I travel, I try to travel on a budget. I try to travel learning. I try to travel by being fun. You don't have to do the tour. I don't have to do the tourist things to have fun. And that's what I really like. As I travel, I grow both in my own, like I grow. I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. I can feel my frontal cortex, my frontal lobe developing. Like it's, you know, if I would have started doing this as a fresh 18-year-old, I definitely would have been blowing money. Heck, I know I did when I would go on trips with my parents. I blew money. And in Tennessee, I did blow some. I'm going to Tennessee, and I already bought the tickets. Blow some money, but I budgeted for it. I saved for it. I actually bought them now, and I still have over a month before I even go on this trip, because I bought them last month. So I had 2 months in between where I had saved before I even bought the money, before I even talked about with the person I was going to buy those tickets. So, you know, you're allowed to spend money if you budget it. You're allowed to spend money if you know what you're doing. All of my bills are paid, and I am even actually paying extra on a bill, on a debt to pay it off faster. Could I not do that? Not go on these trips and pay off all those faster? Yeah. But I've tried that, and it made me really sad and depressed. And I started spending more on that card. So I've learned that if I budget and go on these trips that are going to be free or cheap or what have you, the trips aren't necessarily free, but budget so it feels like it's free. Like I've already paid it. Girl math, I've already paid for it. It's free. Then it's not as bad because I'm not using my credit card. It's not as bad because I'm not going into debt. I'm living, I'm learning, I'm loving, I'm laughing, you know. I'm a little Hobby Lobby sign, a little live, laugh, love. But yeah, you can do it. It's going to be hard and it's going to suck sometimes when you're at home and friends are like, you want to go out drinking? And you have to say no because you don't have drinking money. But that means next time you can realize, hey, I'd rather go out drinking, or I'd rather go out, you know, to the movies. And so you can decide one day that, you know, you're not going to do XYZ. And there has been times where, again, like I said, I did peanut butter jellies, so I could do XYZ. Or if you're at a place where food banks are what you have to do, food banks are for if you cannot, if all you're doing is paying, you know, for the roof over your head, go to a food bank. I am blessed that I get to live richly and leisurely, and I understand that I get to do that, and I do spend time volunteering. I did 2 charity events where I set up my booth, but the charities that I do it for are my local food bank where I do volunteer. I'm on the board. I do what I can, and sometimes that looks like, rather than physically volunteering because they are open while I'm at work, that means I use my time to support them on social media by making their content and posting it on social media for free. I go to their board meetings. I'm doing all that I can for them in that way. So I don't want to sit here and be like, ha ha ha, I have all this money. I don't. But I also can realize and see that I am at a good place mentally and financially, and that I do get to live richly, and I do realize that. So thank you for seeing how the what do I do budget video. I don't know what I'm gonna name it. Thank you for joining me. I will see you in the next video, and I am Stormy Weather. Bye!